Hey everybody, this is Pat, and today we're going to be interviewing Tony Goertz and checking out his amazing Hemi Prowler. So yeah, today here I've got Tony Goertz with me. He is the original founder and the administrator of the Prowler Owners Association, the ProwlerOnline.com, and he also is owner of several Prowlers that he's owned over his career. And one of them we're going to be talking about today is his Hemi Prowler, but he's got others as well. So Tony, just a little background here. I know also you were the one who Yuri Tereshyn from TheStraightPipes bought one of your cars. So some people may recognize you from that. But that's just one of many you've owned. So when did you get your first Prowler? And I guess when did all this get started?
Well, my connection to the Prowler started back, and I'm going to guess about 95,
Really?
when I saw the first concept pictures. And when the concept car was shown at the Detroit Auto Show that same day, we put an order in at a dealership for one. And that was 2 years and 3 months before I got my first car.
Okay.
It took that long to get one.
Okay. So were you involved with Chrysler in any way? I mean, did you work with them at any point during your career?
Well, why I got to see some of the concept stuff was the magnesium instrument panel happens to be made in a little town not too far away. And my brother had a contract to do all the machining and put in all the clips to that instrument panel for the die caster.
Okay.
So we got to see the prototypes and what was going on, and thought it was kind of cool. And when it finally went into production, it was a no-brainer. We got to try to get one of these.
Okay. Yeah. So so when did you actually take delivery of your first car?
Trying to think. The first one, we tried, like I said, for 2 years to get it in 97. And being in Canada, we kept getting bumped down the list. The allotment kept going down and down.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually Bob Longstreth that we've met now over the years, was the guy that was doing all the allotments. And 6 cars came into Ontario as VIP cars, 53 in total to Canada, if I remember right, and we didn't make the cut.
Okay.
But the first ones came in I'm trying to remember, November of 97, so very late in the year. And by March of 98, I received a phone call from the marketing department of Chrysler Canada, and they told me that they were getting a new 99 as their show car. Okay. So their 97 that they had, it was actually going to be up for sale. And because I had bugged them every month for the last 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
they thought they would offer it to me first. So
Okay.
They did, and we took that one. So March of 98, we got the first 97 Purple Prowler.
Okay. So how soon after that did you decide to start doing the POA site?
I started the POA site in, I got to look up my notes, but I'm going to say 98.
Okay.
End of 98, December-ish of 98. We went all of 99. In 2000 in the spring, there were some rumblings with the PPC site, as it was a registration and a fee site, and a lot of people were being disgruntled.
What was the PPC site? What is that? What does PPC stand for?
It was the Plymouth Prowler Club.
Okay.
That was started by a fellow by the name of, I ran across it just today, Noel Herman from New York, and he set up the club to be paying membership and try to get newsletters and regional VIPs or VPs,
Mm-hmm.
and tried to make it like, I would say, more like a Corvette club where you've got 30,000 cars every year.
Yeah.
And it just didn't go over well. The idea of how it was administered wasn't the way to set up our club. Okay. I had always promoted the Prowler Owners Association as a free site. Anybody can join. It's just for people that like the car. To this day, we've kept it that way. There's no registration, there's no presidents, there's no administrators, and with that comes no liability. If we travel in a group, it's just us as friends. Nobody can give us a hard time. So
Okay.
I had started that in '98, and in about May, June of 2000, I talked to Mike Krell, and he was at that time thinking about doing a new discussion forum. And we talked, and it didn't make any sense to me. I didn't have a very good discussion forum, but he didn't have anything else from Prowler related. So it only made sense that we merged the two sites. He administered the discussion forum, and I did all the other things, the scrapbook, the owner's registry, all the other stuff. And
Okay.
over
Yes.
the years, we've kept it that way.
Okay. So Mike, just to give people some background, so he actually owns many Prowlers himself too. He lives down in Texas. I think how many does he have at this point?
I think he's about 17.
Yeah.
14 or 17, someplace in there.
Yeah. He's got like one of every year and every color, pretty much.
Probably.
Right? Yeah.
And including the last one.
Including the last one. So he's the one who paid up the money for the auction to pay for the last one, right?
Yep.
Okay.
He bought the last blue one at the auction. And I think over the years, he's collected first and last of a few. I don't know if he's got the first 97 built, but he might have the first public one by now.
Okay. I would definitely love to see his collection someday, as I'm sure many other people would love to see. I've seen a few photos, but not much more than that.
Right. I wasn't able to go down to Texas the one year they had the event there. But yeah, his door is always open. He's kind of a reserved fellow. He's not the guy that's going to be out front in a show anyplace.
Yeah.
But he sure does like the Prowlers. And his house is, where he lives in Houston, and his house is always open. He's a great guy that way.
Okay, that's cool. So how many Prowlers actually have you owned now? Do you know?
Can't even remember, 8 or 10 maybe.
Okay.
At least that many.
Okay. Now, you told me one of the stories there, one of the videos I did where I did some reviews of other YouTube videos, that there was a Charles Phelps that I did a review on, and you actually bought his car, right?
Yeah, as we talked last May, Charles Phelps Sr. had passed away. He was a fourth owner of that car, and it still had very few miles on it. He suffered from arthritis and couldn't use the car. So after he passed, his son picked it up, and he's not a Prowler guy. So he put it up for sale, and I drove down to Tampa, Florida to pick it up last May.
Okay. And you've since sold it, though, to somebody else, right?
Yeah, there's a local fellow here that young couple, never had a Prowler, and it's a good car, low mileage. So I turned that one around, and at the same time bought another orange one. And that's the one I'm working on now to put another Hemi in. It's getting close to done.
Okay. So, and then so the Prowler that Yuri bought from you, how long did you have that one before he bought it?
That was kind of a strange deal. I had that one probably 6 weeks, maybe 2 months.
Okay.
I bought it at the same time Yuri was online trying to find a car. But this car had issues. The owner couldn't keep it running. It had been moved around, and nobody could figure out why. And the only solution was buy the car, ship it up to my house, and start trying to figure out why it was being such a lemon.
Okay.
I replaced the computer. I replaced the electronic dash, cleaned up some of the little bugs, and the biggest issue was the original air conditioning condenser in the car, inside the body, was leaking. And it had always been gone to different shops to have it repaired. And this car was down in Mississippi. So you can't have a car in Mississippi without air conditioning.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of work. You take the whole inside of the car out, including taking off the windshield wipers. to get at the heater box to replace the little heater rad, the air conditioning rad inside the heater box. So a lot of labor, not a lot of parts. Strange enough, the heater box was a neon, so you can just go buy a neon air conditioning coil,
Okay.
put it in, and other than that, it turned out to be a very good, solid car.
Okay. Well, I know Yuri loves it. I mean, he did. I mean, that's why he actually reached out to me. So he'd like to do one of these calls too. So it would be great if you and I and him and Jakub could get on a 4-way Zoom call. Would be great. So we'll have to see if we can convince him to do that at some point.
It was funny when Yuri left here. I'd said to him, now, he wanted to have this car, baby the car, take good care of it. And I said, well, take it easy on it a little, no big deal, right? And he says, oh no, I'm just going to follow Jakub and it's going to be fine. He didn't get 15 yards out of the laneway, and he had it to the floor, and he passed Jakub. He was gone. So, and he hasn't spared it one bit. He drives it.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he put winter tires on it. He actually posted on Instagram driving around and doing donuts in the snow. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. But
it's good. He's careful.
Yeah, well, I'm glad. But that's good. I'm glad people his age are liking the car. We need to get some young folks liking the car. So definitely worth it.
It's actually interesting to see lately how many new people have signed up on Prowler Owners Association. It's a whole new generation. Most of them I can tell are in their 30s and 40s again. So there's a whole new generation coming along as these cars are finally being sold. Yeah. And it's good to see.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to be turning 53 next month, and so I thought I was on the young side. But now you're right. I think I'm seeing the same thing. More younger guys are getting on, and girls too. I think there's maybe a few girls, but shouldn't say all guys. But
you're in the middle.
I'm in the middle. Okay.
Still a lot of us older than you.
Yeah, I know, but some of you guys have had them since they were new. So yeah, you're going to be older than me, more than likely. So anyway, let's talk about the Hemi Prowler. So this one you're working on now is not the first one, obviously. So how many did you do before this one?
I think this is about the 5th time I've gone through the whole process.
Okay. Now, each time you've done it, obviously, I presume you sold them to others, right? Or did you make them? Now, was it just you did so many just because you wanted to try to make it better each time? Or, why did you keep doing them again and again?
Well, you kind of get hooked on them. You keep doing them better. I use my own yellow car as a bit of a guinea pig. That's when I first put a 5.7 in, and next vehicle I did was a 6.1 that had been burnt up. That green car was that was an interesting project. So I actually did a repair on that one, and after that I thought, geez, I've got a 97 that I put a 6.1 in. I thought, well, this isn't right. I'm driving a 5.7 myself. So it got updated to a 6.1. And what I had learned from doing the other ones, I put back in this my own car. So last spring, I moved the air conditioning to the back. Expecting to go to Texas this last April. I wanted to make sure I had absolutely no heating issues. And it's just a better design. So now the air conditioning gets moved to the back, and I found more ways to make a little extra room under the hood, a better air intake system, just tweaking all the little things, because you don't really everybody says you're just, you put in a Hemi. Well, putting the Hemi in is the easy part. Physically putting the engine in, that wouldn't take a day. All the little things that you have to tweak around it is what takes all the work. Like this last one, I've been documenting closely what I've been doing, and strange enough, the first thing that a guy should do after he takes the Hemi out or takes the V6 out, before you do anything else, put in the gas pedal.
Okay.
And as much as that sounds stupid, if you don't put the gas pedal in first, you're going to have to do a lot of upside down work underneath the dash, and it's going to be a pain to put that gas pedal in. I've done it too many times now, so I'm learning.
Okay, is this because of the way the engine's positioned to where the pedal is? Is that
Yeah,
why?
when the engine's in, you have no room. You know, there's even with this last one, I've been writing notes, as I said, was, oh, power steering reservoir. If you drill the holes for the mount, when the engine's not in, it's easy. If you wait till the engine's in, you can't get a drill in.
Okay.
You know, so there's those little things that you have to do, and you have to touch everything. You know, they forget about the evap systems for the fuel and the emissions. They have to get, you know, taken care of.
Right.
Catalytics, you hardly have room to put in different catalytics. Headers, you have to make your own, right? I've bought 3 different brands over the years. None of them fit close enough that you could customize them.
Okay.
Now I've made my own jigs and measured all the pipes, and I could actually make more without having to fit every piece.
Okay.
Radiators, the way they fit, they've been tweaked over the different models that I get more airflow. Where the fan sits, all of this stuff.
Okay. So it's not just dropping in the engine, but you're talking many other parts, like I presume, like the exhaust system, you're saying the radiator, air conditioning, all that stuff has to be redone to make it fit in there, right?
Fuel lines, you move sensors, you have to put in extra sensors. Oil pans, completely custom. You'll never find one that holds any oil that'll fit. So this last one now, they look kind of funky, but it's an oil pan that fits between the frame rails and in the V and holds 7 quarts. So you make a new one of those, you change the oil pickup tubes inside, you trim pieces off the water pump, right? You have to do that, otherwise you won't have room. So it's all those little things that if a guy has lots of time and goes slowly, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you said, I'm taking my car to a customizer shop and he's going to do this, it's not going to work out well, because until you've done a couple of them and a lot of time spent, you won't know exactly what to do. And it's those little things that get you in trouble.
Yeah. Okay. So the fact that you've done so many of these, I presume you're the type, or you belong to the camp of people that think this car should have had a V8 from the start, I presume, right?
I'm not saying that. They did the best they could. That's the most powerful engine they had.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I heard. I mean, I heard the V8 that they actually had at the time was no better than the V6, right? That's what I've heard.
No, I started this journey. I used to have a supercharger on it, and one day it decided to blow up, which was, you know, the engine's fault. It wasn't my fault. I wasn't doing anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I came home and I looked up pictures of the Howler concept car, and they had a 4.7 in it, which was, you know, a little bit more horsepower, but thought, geez, they put it in.
Was it a custom engine, or was it one of the V8s that Chrysler already had?
Oh, it was a stock 4.7 that they had in their normal lineup. It wasn't.
Okay.
It was a standard engine.
Okay.
So that was back in, I think, 2011. So I bought a 2008 pickup truck with a 4.7 in it, and took it all apart, took the engine out, had it sitting there ready to put in the car, and got looking and says, this engine's big. And came to realize that a 5.7 physically is smaller than the 4.7.
Really?
And has more horsepower and everything else.
Okay.
And the 6.1 is same configuration as the 5.7, just with more horsepower. So
okay.
If you have to pick one, that's the one to pick.
Yeah, so I've seen some videos of other people that have done the Hemi swaps like this, and typically I've seen they've had to cut a hole in the hood to fit it. Now, in yours, you didn't have to do that though, right?
Everything fits under the hood. I've got a hood scoop on mine left over from the supercharger, but everything fits under the hood.
Okay.
You've got maybe an eighth, a quarter inch of clearance between the, strangely enough, the ring gear and the frame. And there is no shroud because I use the frame as a shroud, because you don't have room to put a shroud around it underneath the motor. You might have a 1/2 inch between the engine and the firewall to get all the wiring in between.
Okay.
The first one with the 5.7 and the standard air conditioning rad still in front, the button on the front of the water pump and the button on the back of the fan motor were actually side by side. If they had been in line, it wouldn't have fit.
Okay.
But another advantage of moving the air conditioning to the back, I gained 3/4 of an inch at the front and a little more room.
But when you said you put the air conditioning in the back, where was there room in the back? I mean, somewhere around the transmission, or where are you saying actually the AC was put?
I moved the engine, the transmission cooler sideways, and
Okay.
put another air conditioning condenser, put it
Oh,
beside
okay.
it.
Oh,
So
okay.
now when you look at the back of the car, you don't really notice it. There's 2 radiators back there,
Oh, okay. I got
2
you.
fans, and they just sit side by side. And
So in the video with Yuri, I saw the yellow one you had there. It looks like you had some new vents. You changed the side panels to have some vents on the side. So was that really necessary? I mean, to make sure you had enough airflow through there?
well, I had those. They're definitely a good idea on a switch. I had them on the car with the supercharger, and that was my own design, so I've always kept them. Any cars I do now, I use the
They kind of look like shark gills. Yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah, the gills, and I use them on the car. It gives me a little bit of more room, and it lets a lot of heat out. So, and heat, it's a strange little thing. There's a rubber seal right above the cowl underneath the hood.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled that rubber seal off years ago, and just to let more air get out from underneath the hood out the back.
Okay. Are you there by the car right now?
Yeah, I'm outside.
Okay.
I don't know how this is going to work, but
Well, let's give it a try. And if the call, oh, there we go. Yeah, bring it down a little bit. Okay.
and I'm outside in the sun, so.
Okay. Well, if you want to go around to the front where you're not looking into the sun, that's fine. However you want it, whichever way is easier. There we go. Oh yeah. Okay. I see the hood scoop there you're talking about. Okay. So this one still has a prop rod. Was this a 99 originally?
This one's a 99.
Yeah.
You can see a little bit, but it's
Yeah.
not very good.
No, it's not bad. Actually, it's coming in really good. It's coming in really good.
So yeah, it's proof that it's in there, but some of the still pictures you can actually talk to. And
Oh yeah, that's what I'll do. So which engine did this car, or sorry, which car did this engine come out of?
this one came out of a Challenger that I actually bought in Alberta,
Okay.
and had it shipped out. When I got it here and hooked up the computer and everything to it, it had 4,000 miles on it. So a nice clean engine, and works well.
Was it a yellow Challenger originally?
No, those valve covers, I painted them to match the car.
Oh, okay.
Something else I like to do
Okay.
if I can. There's a shot of, you can actually look at the air conditioning.
Okay.
The little air conditioning lines going into the heater box.
Okay.
Well, you've got 1/8 of an inch at the top and 1/4 inch around it, and the coils sit in front. So it's made to fit, but you have no room.
Actually, there's a lot of room next to the engine there, a lot more than I expected. I mean, to me, that looks pretty.
When I changed the air conditioning, it clears up all of that area.
Yeah.
And this one still has just a round air intake
Okay.
that I now make a different side panel box for. But since I've got these panels, I've got no place to put the computer. So first
yeah, I was
I've
going
got
to say, yeah, the PCM is usually, the PCM's on that side right by the air filter in the stock car, right?
right. And normally what I do is I move the PCM to farther to the back of the panel, And then I've got room for an 8x10-inch cold air filter right on the side of the panel.
Okay, yeah, if you move over a little bit to your right there, I think I can see some of the filter there. I think I'm seeing that.
See, my filter, I'm thinking maybe there you can see it.
Oh, okay, I see what you're talking about. Okay, oh, yeah, the big pipe there. Okay. So, okay, so that's the air intake right there. Okay.
Yeah. And it's not an ideal place for it, but at least you're getting cold air off the headlights and off the
Oh, okay. So
ARs.
the air, oh, okay, so the air is actually coming in right there. It's routing in right through the panel at that point?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, show the outside there so we can show where the air comes in.
Yeah, on this one it comes in. It comes
Oh, you're
in
just
down.
taking, oh, you're just using the existing hole where the A-arm goes in, right?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, that's handy.
Well,
Okay.
if you some of the pictures of that orange 97 with the gill panels, there's some pictures on the my website that shows the other air box, and it sits right inside of those fins.
Okay.
So I'm slowly figuring out a way to put a different air box on this one. I think I've got an idea now, but just need time to do it.
Okay. So you said the radiator was changed out too?
Well, this radiator, you can see in the front now,
Yep.
there's no air conditioning condenser left in the front.
Okay. Yeah, that does look a little different.
So that gives us room, 3/4 of an inch to an inch, to move that radiator ahead. And little tricks that you don't realize, the radiator is actually dropped down 1.5 inches.
Yep, I can see that.
And the bottom of it, the rad is angled, so it sits between the frame rails, which gives us 1.5 inches of room at the top. So, and that wasn't on the first one either. I put them in the normal factory location and had to make a whole new custom intake.
Okay.
But you've got power steering lines that you've got to worry about, air conditioning lines, catch can lines,
Yeah.
reservoirs, vacuum lines.
Right. So now you were mentioning the PCM, so you can't have the same PCM anymore, right? Is that something custom you had to do?
I have two. I still have the Prowler PCM,
Okay.
and I keep it so that oil pressure gauge works, the tach works, and I think water temperature all come from that PCM.
Okay.
And it runs the air conditioning.
Right. Okay.
The engine, the Hemi PCM, does everything. Well, everything else is basically runs the engine, and
Okay.
I don't think it does too much more.
Okay.
Couple gauges.
Because there's a different one for the transmission. There's a TCM for that in the back, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's in the back.
Yep. Okay. Actually, I think that's the one you can see in the trunk, right?
Right. So they've asked about cruise control, and I think it's doable, but I would say take it to any other cruise installer guy and he can just wire it in. And
Okay.
I think most of them nowadays just plug right into the OBD2 port too. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. So right now there is no cruise control.
no cruise control.
Okay. But now, as far as the transmission, was there any upgrades that had to be done to the transmission? I mean, is it still the original 4-speed auto stick?
It's the original 4-speed, but it's not quite original inside anymore. The history of the Chrysler transmissions, they started with a 481 TE in the minivans, which was a complete disaster. And they actually have the same issue as what the Hemis have now. They were originally made with 3 clutch plates for the overdrive clutch, and they just melted left and right. It was a big catastrophe at Chrysler. So what their solution was to change the clutch pack to 4 different clutch plates and pack them in the same housing. So that's what we have in a stock Prowler, 4 clutch plates. But with a Hemi, they can't handle the torque. So you can put 5 clutch plates in. It takes a special little backing plate, but you can add another clutch plate. So you're adding 25% to the transmission. And between that and a little bit of common sense that you're not going to let it shift into high, under full power. This car, I built it in 2011, and touch wood, the transmission's still good after, like all of them, I fixed it within 3 months.
Okay. So is it still, the auto stick still working it?
Yep, auto stick, everything still
Okay.
works.
But I mean, did you have to do any kind of altering to make sure the red line, it was able to handle that? Because I think the way the old one was that if you let it rev too long, you didn't shift it, that it would just cut the fuel line, right?
And I was actually at a buddy's place last fall, and it's not very often your wife says, yes, you can do a burnout. So as I left the guy's house, he was outside, and I just put this thing to the floor, and I was surprised. The Hemi also has a rev limiter in it.
Okay.
So it just sat there and smoked and hit the limiter and came back down and up again, just like the Prowlers do. So
Really? Okay.
kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay.
And it didn't blow up.
Well, that's proof you have it here. It didn't blow up. Okay. Okay. So again, so the number, this one here is, you said it was made in 2011. So there's some of the pictures you sent me, it looks like it's an orange one. So is that the other one that's in progress right now?
The pictures I sent you today were the ones that I'm building now.
Okay.
That's a 2001 orange.
Okay.
The one on the website that's in orange is a 97.
Well,
And
so you must have repainted it because they never had orange in 97.
that's a very unique paint job. That's 2017 Viper Striker Orange Pearl.
Oh, nice.
And when I was doing the Viper parts, I talked to the engineers and one day asked them about paint. And he said, oh, I can get you some of that paint. And that paint code's not available.
Okay.
It was a $10,400 option was
Wow.
the paint color for
Wow.
that paint. So I lucked out. I got a gallon of it and painted that car. And everybody thinks it's just an orange Prowler, but no, it's a nice orange. Oh, and it's a funny paint job. It starts out as I'm trying to remember. It was 2 coats of yellow and then 3 coats of red.
Okay.
And if you don't do it all in one pass, you never get it to match.
I would imagine, yeah. Okay.
So,
And then the green one, at what point did you have the green one?
I had the green one actually when I started working on the 97. The green one came up for sale. It was at a salvage yard in outside of Boston. It had caught fire, and I had helped the adjuster solve what caused the fire because he didn't know what any of the pieces were.
Wow.
And the history on the car, I ended up talking to the owner of it. He had bought the car, had it for a couple months, sent it to a conversion shop to have the Hemi put in. And when he got it done, it was like 6-8 months later, they were shipping it to his house and it caught fire on top of the delivery truck.
Wow.
Inside. And what had happened was everything was fine. They went to go unload the car. The guy turns the key and bang, it's on fire.
Ooh.
And it's an easy mistake because the people that did the conversion aren't that stupid. They're not going to have shorted wires and stuff.
Right.
And it's not as if they didn't test the car first.
Yeah.
So, it's not as if anybody, oh, that was a bad shop, didn't know what they were doing. When the guy put the headlights back in, the wire from the relays to the new electric fan got caught underneath the headlight and the frame. And in shipping of, 1,000 miles sitting on a transport truck, it vibrated and rubbed through. When they turned the key, it shorted out.
Wow. Okay.
And being a Hemi, who else knows how to fix them? Right? You can't send it to a dealer.
Right.
So I knew the wiring and bought the car and brought it home. And my friend really wanted it. So Brad Davis, he had about 97 before that. He really wanted the car.
Mm-hmm.
So he picked the paint color, had it painted, It's his hood design with those two vents, and he had picked green. That's what he wanted. So I basically put it back together for him. He liked it, and we drove around for a while.
Okay. So is there anything else different in this car as far as did you change anything out in the interior or any other? Obviously, the side panels are different, but is there anything else different in the car? Or is it pretty much stock other than that?
Not too much. The only thing that's kind of different, and I'll show you if you can see
you've got new headrests there.
Headrests.
Yeah.
And you wonder, why do I have different headrests?
Well, they're probably more comfortable, right?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
When I made the four-seater,
yep,
I needed 2 more headrests.
Okay.
So
you salvaged them off of that one. Okay.
I took them out of my car to put them in the four-seater.
Oh, so you just put different ones on there. Okay.
Right. Now, you want to hear another strange tidbit? But the headrests, when I got to driving my car again after doing the stretch, you got to get headrests, and they're hard to find. So I'm driving a 2008 Chevy pickup truck, which is leather interior. And the headrests out of the back seat push right in.
Really?
So these are the headrests out of my 2008 Chevy pickup.
Wow. That's pretty cool. All right.
The spacing was the same for the 2 bars and the thickness of the bars.
Okay.
They push right in.
Wow. Okay. So is there anything else different on the car? I mean, like I say, from the back or its dashboard, everything the same, or?
You know, and people don't see it. That's what's nice about the Hemi is they don't see what's changed. Yeah, the muffler looks stock. It looks like a stock muffler.
Okay, but it's not the same muffler though, right?
It's a factory muffler.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay, you still the same. Okay, yeah, I thought you meant it was different.
I sent you another picture today of what's inside a muffler. And it's why I blew up the supercharger, because I didn't realize that Chrysler had built in a big restriction in the muffler.
Okay.
I thought it was dual exhaust all the way through, but inside that muffler is only one pipe. And that's what that restriction caused me to blow the supercharger.
Oh, okay.
When it shifted gears, there was so much back pressure at high RPM, the engine basically stopped.
Wow.
Because it went to shift gears, the exhaust couldn't get out, engine stops, timing chain kept going.
Yeah. Okay.
Not a good thing.
Okay. Well, you know what? It's probably I've got quite a bit of footage here for this one, so we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. But thank you a whole lot, Tony. I really appreciate you taking the time to show this. So the next one we'll hopefully see your 4-seat Prowler, and we'll go through all the details on how you did that one. That one is amazing too, and
well, I've never shown as much information about them as now. Those pictures you have, nobody's ever seen what's underneath them because nobody's ever done kind of a documentary on it on what it does take.
Okay.
Because they don't understand the little details. You don't see them.
Right.
You know, you're doing these videos. You probably don't realize how much good you're doing.
Oh, well, I was hoping I was doing good. I hope I wasn't doing bad.
No,
but I want to do my part. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not good at that kind of stuff. So this thing I was a little bit better at. So I figured, let me give this a try. And hopefully, I can do my part doing this part because I can't do the mechanical part. So
I need a video stick on this tablet, though, because my arm is getting a little tired, stretched straight out.
I kind of figured you would be at some point here. So. Well, I'll let you go then, Tony. I really appreciate it. I'll set up another call with you.
I'm going to go this afternoon and see if I can get it out.
All right. Thanks a lot, Tony.
Okay, take care. Bye.
We'll talk to you later.